Hi y'all, my name is Jasmine Jones. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and welcome to Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. Today we're going to be talking about black women, the strong black woman trope, and how society thinks we don't feel pain. And yeah, so that's what we're talking about today. Stay tuned. So, I often have these conversations with my clients that revolve around them feeling like they're supposed to be suffering. Like a lot of my black clients, particularly black women clients, feeling like we're supposed to deal with what life has to bring at us. And yeah, like we can't take our time and self-care and take care of ourselves and things like that because we don't have time for that. We're too busy for that. We can't take our time and go to the spa or just take a walk, just taking a walk and relaxing because we have too much on our plate. And I always ask them this question. I'm just like, how can you be strong and how can you deal with stuff when you're afraid of something? And they'll be like, afraid of what? I'm not afraid of anything. And I'll be like, well, you're afraid of your own emotions. You're afraid of what will come out if you allow those emotions to be free. You're afraid of what you'll do. You're afraid of how you'll react. You're afraid of facing those emotions because society says and the black culture says that we're not supposed to feel anything. And I find it very tragic because it's kind of like black women often have to live this double standard of, we're the warriors that fight for things and raise our children and do all this other stuff, but then in other ways we're the lowest common denominator. In dating, of course, there was a study that showed that on dating websites the lowest people that are picked are black women and Asian men. And in other avenues it's kind of like we're the lowest common denominator, but we're the first ones that are the queens and stuff like that when we fight for our men and do the things that we're supposed to be doing. But at the same time, we have no backup. We have no support when we're overwhelmed or when we're tired. I often find that my clients will talk about their past relationships and how those relationships, specifically with cis men, they were mainly the emotional mule. The women in the relationship were the emotional mules of the relationship. They carried all of the issues of the relationship on their shoulders a lot of the time. Intimacy, cooking, cleaning, sometimes even being the breadwinner, sometimes even being the ones that pay the bills, sometimes being the only one in the house that has a job and things like that. Oftentimes I find that, we can't, as black women, we can't even want better things for ourselves in romantic relationships. Partner that has a career, a partner that's supportive emotionally, a partner that has goals and passions and dreams and things like that, then we're called gold diggers. And it's really disheartening because it leaves us in this small space where we have to still be warriors, but at the same time we can't be loved or taken care of. So we often find support in each other, in other black women. When people are seeking me out for therapy, they specifically tell me that they wanted a black woman as a therapist, someone that would understand them, and I'll be like, well, what about black men and things like that? And they're like, no, because black men don't understand me. They don't understand what I go through, or they don't care. And it's really disheartening. So I read this article. So this is an article by Jasmine Joyner. It's called "My Pain is Real and the Medical System is Broken. Misogynoir is more pervasive than what is generally perceived, and black women deserve to be seen." So she was discussing a study done in 2016 where basically they studied medical students, and it was found that most medical students believe that black people in general don't feel pain as much as white people. So if you look, at statistics, a lot of black women are dying in childbirth. A lot of black women are dying from reproductive issues and things like that, because when we go to the doctor's office and we say that something's hurting, the doctors are just like, oh, it's not that, it's just a pulled muscle. It's a pulled muscle in my vagina. Okay, that makes sense. Things like that. And it's kind of like, and then if you look at the video that was recently released, and I'll post a clip of it, of the black girl at McDonald's that got yanked over the counter by that white man, and how the black boys just stood there and didn't do anything. And John, wait. Hey, stop. And they tried to, people tried to blow it off as, oh, well, they didn't know what to do and they were young and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't know a black woman that feels safe in the world. I don't know a black woman that can go outside if she's by herself without other black women, can go outside and say that, somebody's got them. No matter what happens, somebody's got them. Somebody's there to support them. If something goes down, the black men in the vicinity will come and save them. And I don't know a black woman that would say that. Most of the time, it's all for one. I don't particularly feel safe. I mean, if other black women are around, I would feel safer than if black men were around. And that's sad to say. And then as far as being a therapist and mental health wise, it's kind of like growing up in a society where you're sexualized, and most women are sexualized at a young age, but black women in particular, you're sexualized. I remember when I was like 9 walking down the street and getting catcalls and things like that. You're sexualized at a young age, and then a lot of us grow up with abuse and molestation in the home. So then you're sexualized at home, and then you go out into the world and it's like, who do you have? So it's kind of like you experience all of these either home traumas or societal traumas, and then you're expected to go out into the world and believe in people, and then you can't, because it's doubled down. Don't be dark skinned. Because it's doubled down, because then it's like, you're not pretty enough, you're not this, that, and the other enough. So you go out into the world with all this trauma on your shoulders, looking for support, and hoping that, that you'll find it. And it's very difficult unless it's with other black women. We support ourselves. That's why I have a lot of clients that are black women that come and ask for, services, mental health services, because they don't want to be seen by anyone else. If it's not me, it's another black woman that they'll be seen by, but they feel more comfortable with black women because it's black women that protected them. It's black women that was there for them. It's black women that supported them when they needed it the most. And if it wasn't, their mothers, it was somebody black supported them most of the time. I'm not gonna say all the time. There's always outliers in things, but it affects why a lot of black women experience depression. Symptoms of depression: irritability, inability to sleep, mental tiredness, oversleeping, overeating, undereating, passivity, things like that, allowing things to happen, lack of motivation to the point where your whole house is a mess, or you take a shower every few days because you just don't have the motivation to get up out of bed sometimes. And it's like, the pervasive issue with depression is negative thinking, and those negative thoughts have to be developed from somewhere. you're a bad person, you suck, you're not this enough, you're not that enough, you aren't the one that's wanted in the world enough. And it's just sickening to me. It's sickening and it's disgusting that we have a group of people in this world that are so put down and disregarded. And I'm not saying that there aren't other groups of people, but this is about black folks today, okay? So we're going to stay focused because that's the community that I've chosen to work with. And that's a community I've chosen to help at this point in time because I feel like my people need the most help, especially black women. It's like we're the bottom rung. And it's changing. The world is changing. I mean, things are becoming different, but it's still the same in certain aspects. In a lot of aspects, it's still the same. I mean, the father of gynecology, what's his name? Sims something. I forgot his name. I'm going to look it up real quick. I'm not great with remembering things. Names in particular. I can remember faces. I am great at remembering faces. I'll see somebody on the street and I'll be like, oh, is that, such and such? and I will remember their name though. Okay, J. Marion Sims, the father of gynecology, discovered his stuff about gynecology by working on black slave women, oftentimes without anesthesia. So there's these black slave women laying on his rickety old wooden ass table with old rusty ass instruments that's been used on 50 other slave women before her, and he's sawing away at their genitals trying to discover things. But I thought we weren't human. So how is it that you're experimenting on us and using what you learned from us on other people? That doesn't make sense. How are we not human, but we're human enough to be chopped and screwed? Doesn't make sense. And it's like I see so many black women come in and they're hurting so much. And it's like, I want to figure out how can I make our voices heard? Like, what do I have to do? Because it's like I can help my clients that come in to my office, and we can sit and we can talk about interventions to work on depression, interventions to work on PTSD, interventions to work on anxiety and things like that. But they still have to go out into a world that doesn't see them. And it's like therapy isn't just theories and interventions and things like that. Therapy is the community that you're in, the place that you call home. Like, how do we change the world? How do we make it better so that the clients that I see and other black women and myself in particular too can go home and feel at peace when they, go out in the world or when they come back to their homes. Even just like romantic relationships, just especially if you're in a heterosexual relationship, and you like black men. So it's like you're not just getting the societal racism outside your home, but then you're dealing with the misogynoir inside your home. And it's kind of like, it's like doubling down. And then when you snap or when you get an attitude, you're seen as this angry black woman no matter where you're at. You're not seen as somebody that has depression. You're not seen as somebody that has post-traumatic stress disorder. You're not seen as somebody that's experiencing something that's harmful and traumatic on a daily basis. And, now you have to come in this space and pretend like everything's okay. You're not seen as that. And then no one's asking what's wrong. No one's sitting you down and saying, I've noticed that you've been irritable lately. I've noticed that you isolated yourself lately. And I just want to know if everything's okay. And I don't mean that pandering, like, you know, when you go to work and you have that one coworker that always wants to be up in your business. I mean someone that genuinely sees what's going on with you and is like, hey, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but I noticed that your behavior has changed lately and your mood has changed lately. And I just want to let you know that I'm here if you need to talk. That's all you have to say to somebody. You don't have to be all up in their face like, tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong. What's wrong? Tell me. Tell me. No, you just have to let them know that you are available if they need to talk, and then leave them alone. You know? Let that marinate in their brain. Let that marinate. Because I hate when I talk to my clients and they're just like, I got that one person at work that just always wants to know stuff about my life, and she just won't give me space. And it's really, because that just adds to it. It's like, you have to let people come to you. You can't just, you know, force people to talk about their issues. So it's like, we want to be seen, but we also need our space to choose to be seen. But most of the time people don't even notice. They don't even notice. They just think you have an attitude, and then, you know, they write you off. Boyfriends in heterosexual relationship, they just write you off as she was just angry, and I had this bad experience with this black woman, and I'm never dating a black woman again. Like, stuff like that. Like, what is that? You didn't think that, you know, whatever was going on in the relationship and whatever was going on in her life wasn't affecting her to the point where she was irritable. Like, and then most of the time when we do say how we feel, oh, it's not that bad. You shouldn't be that upset. You shouldn't be that overwhelmed about it. You should just let it go. So I guess this was kind of a rant because I keep seeing stuff like this, and I'm tired of folks thinking that black women have to be these strong, solid walls that will be warriors for you, but also take the rocks that are thrown at them too. So if you're hurting, get help. If you need to talk to somebody, you know who's in your life that you can talk to. You know what therapy is, so reach out. And then if you're not ready to reach out, don't allow people in your space that make it worse than it needs to be. As much as you can help it, because I know we have jobs and things like that, but as much as we can help it, you know, I don't allow anybody in my personal space that will bring me down. I refuse to. Like, I made that decision a long time ago that I will not allow that. So yeah. And it makes it easier to deal with work. It makes it easier to deal with, you know, going to the grocery store and seeing that random person who has an attitude or something like that, because it's like, I know that I can have a place to find peace. So I guess that's something too. Having a place to find peace. And you know, that cliche, self-care. Go to the spa. Can't go to the spa? Take a walk. Go to the beach. Find those moments where you have peace. If it's reading a book, you know, at home, or, I don't know, watching your favorite cartoon. I like cartoons, but find peace. Find happiness. Find a place where you feel joy somewhere. Because, you know, I wish that it was true, joy will find you, but 9 times out of 10, we have to find the joy. We have to find the peace, and we have to be okay with the peace that we found, because trauma will make it so bad that we get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and, you know, we sabotage our own peace. You know, so it's like this double entendre. We let other people sabotage our peace, or we sabotage our own peace because we're so used to our peace being sabotaged, and we're so used to not having our peace. So I guess I forgot a question too. So I guess I will leave with a question. What is the question? What is the question? Have you ever been told that you weren't in pain when you really were? Have you ever been told that, your pain was all in your head, it was pretend? Whether it was physical, emotional, mental. And what did you do about it? You know? Something else to add is that, making sure you put your foot down. Making sure that you put your foot down when anyone tells you that your pain isn't real, because all pain is valid. All emotions are valid, but all pain is valid too. All of it is valid because at the end of the day, it comes from the same centers in the brain. The same centers in the brain experience pain. So that means all pain is valid. The same centers in the brain experience happiness. Same centers in the brain experience anxiety, no matter what makes you anxious. Same with addiction. Same centers in the brain. So it doesn't really matter what you're addicted to. It just matters that you're addicted. So, yeah. Have you ever been told that your pain wasn't real? And if so, what did you do? How did you cope with it? Just some other tips too. Especially if it's medical, don't be afraid to ask for a second, third, or fourth opinion. Don't be afraid to ask for a black doctor. Don't be afraid to put your foot down because they're service workers. Anybody that is providing you a service is a service worker. No matter how high they get paid, they are getting paid by you and your insurance or out of your pocket to do a service for you. So if you don't like the service they're giving, then you can ask for another person to give that service. And don't be ashamed about asking for another person to give that service too. Even though it's scary, what's the worst that can happen? Well, I'm not going to say that because there have been some black people that have been kicked out of hospitals and things like that. Sue. I'm going to put that out there. Sue if you have to. If you feel like your service was not provided in a positive way, sue if you have to, please. Don't just take it. Don't just allow people to walk all over you. Even if you have it in your mind to walk all over yourself based off of whatever you've experienced and you think that this is normal, it's not normal. It's not normal to be walked all over, and it's not normal to think it's okay to be walked all over. But it is a trauma response. It is a response to societal racism and societal norms saying that black women need to deal with stuff and not say anything. Keep your mouth shut, don't say stuff, allow bad things to happen to you, and if you do say something, then you have an attitude, then you're being uppity. And well, if I'm uppity, and I'm gonna be uppity because I'm not gonna die today, sir. I'm not gonna have my organs ruined. I'm not gonna have my mental health ruined because you think something. I'm going with another doctor. I'm getting a new friend. I'm getting a new boyfriend. I'm not having anybody in my life, as far as I can help it, that's going to make my life a living hell. So that's the mindset that we all need to cultivate as black people, and especially as black women. I'm not going to deal with something that's not good for me, that's not healthy for me, and being okay with feeling that way. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel that way. To not deal with bull. You don't have to put up with it. Even if you have to use that as a mantra, even if you have to keep saying to yourself over and over again, it's not bad to, it's okay to feel like you deserve more. It's okay to be worth more. I am worth more. That could be a mantra. Because I was trying to come up with something. I was like, what is a good mantra for that? I am worth more than this. That's a good mantra. I am worth more than this. I am putting myself first. And putting yourself first is not a selfish act. Putting yourself first is having a perfectly balanced sense of self. It's not being over here where, you don't care about anybody else. And it's not being over here where you don't care about yourself when you don't care about yourself at all, it's over here in the middle. Our goal is to be balanced. It's in the middle where you care about other people, but at the same time, you refuse to be disrespected or mistreated. So you care more about yourself enough to not be disrespected or mistreated, and you're willing to leave the situation no matter how painful it is to leave. Because it's still going to hurt, depending on how much you care about somebody. It's still going to hurt to leave that situation, but that's a pain that you should be willing to deal with, to not be disrespected or mistreated on a regular basis. You have a doctor, and that doctor's been with you since you were a child, but that doctor has been messing up and not doing his job or her job right. So you separate yourself from that doctor. It's going to hurt. You know, that doctor since you were a child, but at the same time, you're not going to be disrespected or mistreated. I am worth more than your disrespect or mistreatment. You know, and of course, you know, you talk to people first. Possibly not a doctor. If the doctor is messing up, then there's no point in talking to that doctor about anything. But like if it's a friend situation, a partner, or something like that, you let them know like, hey, this hurts me, you know. And if they continue to do the same thing, you know, then it's time to leave. I tend to give people 3 chances to get it together, but I pull myself back a little bit more each time. So first time, I'm pulling myself back emotionally. Second time, I'm pulling myself back even more emotionally, so that what you do doesn't hurt me. You know, I'll still hang out with you, but I'm not going to go out of my way to spend time with you because I don't trust you at this point because you continue to do the same things. Third time, I'm gone. I am gone because I don't have time for that. So as Black women cultivating that strength, that's what strength is, that my pain matters and I'm not going to deal with you hurting me. That's what strength is you acknowledge that something hurts you and you do something about it. Strength is not putting up with something. You know, strength is not saying I'm going to deal with this, you know, unless it's for the greater good. I will say that, like, I'm going to deal with the fact that my child is a brat because this is my child and I love my child, but we're still constantly teaching the child to do better, you know. So you're going to get something positive out of it on a consistent basis. Not, I'm going to deal with, you know, this person mistreating me and I'm not even sure if I'm going to get anything positive out of this. I'm just hoping I will eventually. You know, that makes no sense. There's no guarantee. You're putting yourself through torture for someone else. And of course it's difficult to leave those types of situations, you know, whether it's whoever. But, you know, I just think of it this way. What feels worse, being tortured for 20 years or ripping off a Band-Aid and walking out of their life today? And having that pain for like maybe, depending on how long you've known the person, you know, maybe up to a year, having that pain and that, you know, missing them in your gut, but eventually getting past it versus being tortured for 20 years for hoping that they'll change or do something differently. So, just kind of went off, well, it wasn't off topic, just kind of went on a tangent, I guess. Because I guess I just started talking about the people that don't see Black women's pain, so think they can walk all over us. That's what I was talking about. So they don't see our pain, so they walk all over us. So we have to see our pain and acknowledge it and leave. If they don't see it, we have to. We have to. We cannot fall into the trap of misogynoir and societal racism and stay in situations that hurt us. You know, empower yourself to feel. Empower yourself by feeling. Yeah, I guess that's it. The question again was, have you ever been in a situation where your pain wasn't acknowledged? And what did you do? I will see you all later. Whoever is watching these videos. I don't think anyone's watching them yet, but whatever. I will see you all later. Peace.